Hiya. This is a bit unexpected, but I've got to go on a 300-mile drive to Newcastle, and because all of my stable won't do more than like 30 miles to gallon, I rented a car from Abacus, and this is it. It's a 2022 Peugeot 2008. It's done less than 2,000 miles. It's like the Starship Enterprise compared to my cars, so what's it going to be like to drive 300 miles in this? Well, I'm going to set off in a minute and keep you informed. Look at all this. Technology. Not used to this. So, I've got to drive 300 odd, I think it's 310 miles or something to Newcastle from where I live. It's about a 5-hour drive. Obviously I'm not going to be recording all of that. But I just thought it'd be interesting to see what it's like to drive one of these. It's diesel. It's done 1,726 miles. It says, I filled it up a minute ago, it says it'll do 422 miles. Yeah, that's it. So anyway, I'm going to go off and drive and then fill in more information at a later time. At the stage in Newcastle. Hello, here I am in sunny South Shields in my Peugeot 2008 or 2008, whatever you pronounce it. This isn't the car I really expected to get. Basically what I did, I booked online for the cheapest car they had, and the picture that it showed was something like a Toyota Yaris. When I went to actually pick up the car, it turned out to be this Peugeot 2008. Anyway, now I have had it and drove 311 miles or something. Right, it's actually done 311 miles, and I filled it up not long ago, and it's done 60.74 miles to the gallon, which is amazing. My SLK struggles to do more than 30, and my Mondeo, well, you're lucky if you get 30. Anyway, so now I had it, it wasn't Toyota Yaris. How was it? Well, there's been some ups and downs. Some things I like and some things I don't like. There is quite a lot of room in the back. I'm 6 foot, no problem. Got nifty little power points in here as well. The seat material is quite nice. It's sort of a mix, some bits of leather, I assume it's leather, and some cloth, and it's quite well done. But then it's got this weird effect here. I don't know what it's supposed to be, like plastic carbon fibre, which is a bit odd. And in the front it's got the same, this carbon fibre, which it wraps around to the dash, which is quite nice. But then it's got these green pieces here. I don't see the relevance, although they picked up green stitching. And this is quite nice and tactile, this armrest. But then you've got this other stuff, which is not so good. Like I say, the dash wraps around, looks okay. I don't understand the green bits. I do like these switches here, and initially I did like the dash, and it's got this funky wraparound thing, but there's a few things I don't like. Right, just start up. The start button is out of the way, you know, it's very difficult. I'm sat here, difficult to see. All right, bitch and moan about it, but dash lights up very well. And then you've got this, I think they call it an infotainment center. Why? It might just be me, but you've got some basic controls here. If you want to change the heater or anything, it's all the way over here. When you're driving, it's not practical. I mean, they're supposed to not be touching things. and you have to reach all the way over here. Then you can change the temperature and where it's coming from, but I think it's a gimmick. And then there's some other things for the car, you know, parking sensor, start, stop, so on. The navigate, that's to attach your phone. Obviously this is a rental, so I'm not going to attach my phone to it, I don't want my information. The other thing is, it's got cup holders here. Now, if you put, like I will, this bottle here, it gets in the way of changing gear. It's got driving mode, but there's only two, normal or eco, so just use normal. It's got a charging point there, or 12 volt point. It's got a USB, and then it's got this other kind. You can alter the radio controls on here, and there are some functions obviously on the steering wheel. You can volume up and down your telephone if it's hooked up, and when you're in a menu you can change things with the button, right? I'm using the button. Okay. But you can't change the menu as far as I know. I can't even change the volume. Come on. Right, it's gone. But you can't change, these buttons don't seem to change the menus. There's 6 possibilities. Don't know what that one does. Oh, photos. Yeah. Telephone. Car functions. Heating and ventilation. Navigation, and obviously music. Here you've got some AC control. This is the volume for the radio, which works. You've got your recirc, you've got your fan on and off, you've got AC max, you've got your hazards, you've got lock the doors, mirrors and window. This comes to something else. The biggest pain, besides this, I hate this. I think it's much better if we had this stereo and the normal heating controls. I can change the ventilation and heating in my Mercedes and my Mondeo and my Jeep. No problems at all. It's easy. This is not easy. This is, to me, this is not moving forward. This is like going backwards. Another thing, this dashboard, I like the speedo part, and sometimes it shows what the maximum speed is wherever you are. And then it's got a water temperature, and then it's got the fuel gauge, but no rev counter. Now I think that's important, but when you accelerate, I mean, it does have some acceleration, but when you accelerate, you have to judge it by ear or wait for it to say, change up, change down, which I think is nanny state. I don't like it. I don't like the steering. I mean, the steering's fine. I don't know if it's electric or hydraulic, I'm not sure. But at low speed, sometimes it's odd. I can't describe it, what it is, but it's like it's got no feel at all. It's very difficult. Also, this car is like a great big elephant. What do I mean? Well, you just got to look at it. Let me just plug my things back in. Let's get out. Open the window. Right, the other one, while we're still inside, it's got the dark glass or tinted glass or privacy glass, whatever you call it, in the back. And when you're driving along, with the privacy glass, it's quite dark inside, and it's noticeably dark. You know, you're looking around. Also, because the 3/4 goes up at an angle, back there, that's a blind spot. You got the tyres. They're 215/60/17s, so they're not going to be cheap. Let me just turn it off. Okay. When you look at the outside of these cars, you can't help but notice how big they are. And why? I mean, it's got room inside it, yes, but it's just a big fat car. No two ways of looking at it. What's the benefit in one of these? And it's not just these. I mean, if you look at any of the manufacturers, they've got these kinds of cars. pseudo four-wheel drives, whatever you want to call it, but they're not. And on here, this one, the button for underneath is very vague. Sometimes you can get it, sometimes you can't. The boot, it's not fantastic. It's got space. Underneath, there's supposed to be a spare wheel, and there isn't one. Because apparently, they don't do spare wheels anymore. Use some kind of gunk. Of course, you can put the seats down. As you can see, it's not four-wheel drive. It's just a beam. So what benefits do you get from buying one of these cars? I don't know. It's just a trend, isn't it? I mean, it drives quite well. It's got quite a lot of features, I suppose. But I can't explain it, but it's just big. I was parked in there underneath. I got the sun, yeah. I was parked under the hotel last night in a little underground car park, and this thing was a bear. It's just very difficult to see because it is so fat. It's an awkward car to judge. I mean, I've driven hundreds of cars, but this one, I can't tell where the left-hand wheel arch is, or at the rear. The mirrors don't show it. I mean, they're all right. I suppose it's no worse than any other, but for me, I don't think it's very well thought out, and that people are buying them just because they think it's a safer car. For me, I think an ordinary car, an ordinary estate car or something like that with less of these space-age features would be fine. Having said that, it's got a little cubby hole for God knows what, I don't know what. There's a small little dinky hole there. Suppose you put change in it. It's got some function there I haven't used, but it's obviously got lane assist. I do know that if someone pulls in front of you, it comes up on the screen. Will it do it? No, obviously not. But it comes up on the screen and says something's there. Let's just look at the wonderful display. Okay, another part. Indicators. When you put the indicators on, it's very difficult in my view. Where Peugeot put the lights, I'm looking down here for the indicators, right? But they're not there. They're in this pillar, and you can't see it. Same as the other one. We can see that one a bit better because obviously it's in the dark. But when you're driving along, you're looking there. This funky design with the indicator and other lights, it's a mistake. Okay, let's go for a little drive. See, it's speeds like this when the steering's a little bit odd. I mean, it steers obviously, just feels strange. I like the speedo. Gear lever's good. Oh, that's another thing, there's a footrest to the left of the clutch, but there's hardly any space there. I mean, my shoes are narrow today, and still, a few times it's been pretty close to snagging up, which in my book is not good. Now I'm accelerating, but there's no rev counter. The car is saying change up to 3. Maybe you like that, but I use the rev counter to judge. having the car tell you when to change gear is strange, to say the least. Right, we'll accelerate now. The light's gone to green. Right, it's saying change up to 3, but I just don't like it. It's probably just me, but I want the rev counter because, especially with a diesel, you get good pulling at certain RPMs and not at others, and you can't judge it. Okay. I do like the electric handbrake that takes itself off when you're in for normal gear. That's good. That's in case your car rolls away and the brake comes off and you crash into something. So it's quite smooth. I mean, it's got the big 17-inch tyres. But again, if this was a family car or something, a bit harsher there. There's all speed bumps here you can't see. It's the beach front. See, it's supposed to tell you the speed limit. According to the dash, it tells you the speed limit wherever you are. It's just saying dash blank. Under normal driving, this steering's fine. Like I say, it's only when you're doing little minuscule manoeuvres it seems to be like, I don't know, connected to nothing. I suspect it's electric, but I might be wrong. Not an expert. Do I like driving this car? Yes, but it's got so many. Alright, let's change the question. Would I buy it with my money? No. No, I wouldn't. I do not like this. I understand in an electric car it's a different thing altogether, but in a normal car I don't think it's necessary. I don't buy the big bulky body thing either. It's unnecessarily bulky, and in my mind has no benefit. All these cars, it's the same thing. They look like four-wheel drives, but they're not. I know some. How do we better change that? There are some that are available as four-wheel drive, but they're not really four-wheel drive. Most of them are like electric or part-time, or the car decides when it will be. I think that several years in the future, when this is older, there's going to be a lot of problems, not just with this car, but with others similar, because of all the technology. Like I say, I hate the infotainment thing. I like the switches. I think something else could have been done for that. That's not necessary. Just pull over. To my mind, this is a perfectly adequate car. It does everything it's meant to do. But I don't think it knows what it wants to do. It's not just a family car, it's like all jazzed up. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's just because I'm old, but for me, to have a car that looks like this car is not easy to park in very confined spaces because it's like difficult to see where all the extremities of the car are. At the back, the three-quarter view, there's a huge great pillar in the way. At the front, it's just bulbous. You can see people scraping this easily. The lack of the rev counter is very important. Like this indicator is on here now. It's annoying the hell out of me because it's not in the right place. It's too far over, and it's in a place where basically with the light on it you can't see it. Everything else, it's okay. So there you go. I suppose you'll say it's very negative. It's a nice pleasant car to drive, but then it should be. It's a modern car, it's a new car. I think that with the big tyres and everything, it's going to be expensive to run. The MPG is perfect, obviously 60 miles per gallon is great. But if this car wasn't such a big bulky elephant, it'd probably get better MPG. Next time I hope I get the Yaris so I can see something. I don't want to really kill this car, but I just think I'm going to check up how much they are. I don't know how much it is, but I'm going to check up how much it is and then I will continue. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy my drive down here. The AC is nice, the view is nice. Let me just try and show you the view. Driving along the South Shields coastline. Lovely view all the way. Set through my pillar. Oh, look, there's a big boat. I think I've got sunburn. Look, I'll try and be reasonable. This car, it drives very well. The seats are very comfortable in the 300 and odd miles I've done. No backache, no nothing. It's just, it's too fat, too big. I don't like the infotainment. I don't like where the indicator, arrows are, and no rev counter. But yes, it's a perfectly good car that you can use. It's just not for me, I'm afraid, as you can probably tell. I don't think SUVs are for me. Maybe I'm so horrible, so harsh because I'm burnt. I can certainly feel it.